Welcome back to Toast, everybody. I am Moustache you a question. Do you like it? Should I keep it? Because by the time you see this, I'll probably already have a beard again. Some people are enjoying the mo. Some people are telling me no mo. Get the beard back. Today is a little bit of a filler episode, finishing off Spain week. Last episode with Vince was awesome. I'm so glad to have another friend come over in the studio and be able to record during these weird times of quarantine. Nonetheless, thank you guys for being here. I'm going to be talking about an area of Spain that not many people go to. So in the northern area of Spain, there's a city, a very big city, famous for the Guggenheim Museum, which is called Bilbao. So northern Spain is not really an area that many people go to because, well, it's less sunny, it's more mountainous, there's no beaches, and the beaches that are there, it's not really like the same type quality of like sandy beaches that you get on the Mediterranean coast in the south or in the east. So not many people really like to go to that area of Spain, but it is really beautiful. The people who do go are people who do the Camino de Santiago. If you don't know what the Camino de Santiago is, it's a very long walk that I think it lasts about 2 months if you do the entire thing from southern France all the way to northwestern Spain in Galicia. So really cool place, San Juan de GAZTELUGATXE. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that well. If any of you guys are from Spain or Basque country, more specifically, sorry for being unable to pronounce that very insane long Basque word. So, what is it? First of all, that place is the set of Dragonstone. So if you guys watch Game of Thrones, the home of Daenerys Targaryen, the mother of dragons, and insert all the 36 titles that she has, that amazing like staircase to the island like place. Of course, they added like a castle there. There's not really a castle there. You'll see that in the pictures. There is a church at the top because it's Europe. It was a church dedicated to Saint John the Baptist. So very, very cool place. Such an awesome place to go. I found it like completely like by luck. I guess I was looking for like less traveled places in the world as one does when they travel too much, and I ended up finding that, and it wasn't even famous yet. It wasn't on Game of Thrones yet. This was a few years before it ended up showing up, and so I was really happy to go there and not really have any tourists to deal with. So it was cool to really have such a, I'm sure, tourist attraction right now to myself at the time. The reason I'm telling the story is because in Bilbao, it was a very different experience from what I was doing that entire trip. I was doing a lot of couch surfing, and I decided, when I get to Bilbao, it's a big city. I want to stay in a hostel. I want to meet some travelers. I'm ready for that repetitive talk, like, oh, where are you from? How long are you traveling for? What are you doing? What's the journey? Blah blah blah. And essentially, it was kind of funny because once I got to Bilbao, I checked into like a hostel that was a little bit more expensive than the others because it looked like it was better. It looked like it had more of a party vibe. And once I got there, sadly, there was nobody there. Apparently, nobody really travels to northern Spain, much less in March, which is when I was there after Carnival and all of that stuff. So, I was pretty disappointed and I was pretty sad because I really wanted to go to the Guggenheim Museum, a very famous museum, beautiful, massive dog made out of flowers right outside the museum. There are so many huge sculptures in Bilbao and this river that just goes through it. And for a pretty big city, it is so calm and so peaceful. And I was so happy to be able to go there, but I was sad that I was like once again being that solo traveler. And even worse, I didn't even have like a couch surfer that was there to show me around because I went for this hostel life. Nonetheless, I still made it to San Juan de GAZTELUGATXE, which is about an hour away from Bilbao. And in northern Spain, it's very mountainous. So even those like the little bus ride that you take to go there is just so scenic and beautiful, and I wish I could just like recreate it. Like, if I had a GoPro back then, I should have just stuck it in front of that bus, and I would have a really nice B-roll montage for all of you guys over here. Again, I ended up getting to the place where the bus drops you off, which is not exactly at the church or at the little islet that you get over there. And I think that there's a lot to say about that because what I had to do was kind of plan like the buses, which in northern Spain there are not so many and they don't come very frequently. I had to kind of plan like which buses I was going to take there, which buses I would take back, and it got really complicated because they're hard to organize, and the distance between where the bus drops you off and that place is actually like almost an hour of walking anyways. So when I got there, I ended up walking all the way because I was enjoying it. It was coastal, very rocky, like cliffs, like everything you expect when you're thinking of maybe more like Ireland or England on the coast, like just like sheer rock and like heavy waves and stuff like that. So it's really cool to experience Spain in that way, because usually I think we picture Spain and we picture Ibiza or something like where you're just partying and you're on the beach and it's hot and you're eating paella and everything is just super great and sunshine. And really where I was, it was gloomy, and it was kind of nice to be able to experience that gloom every once in a while. So once I finally got there, it's just like this scenic, moment where you can't really put it into words, and that's such like a good way to describe it, because even looking at pictures of it, you kind of like get an idea, but it just always seems so small in pictures. There's no way to make it really seem as big as it really is, and it obviously looks better from afar. But as you're approaching it, like you're getting so many different angles of this scenic place, and you're seeing that there's these arches and there's like rock formations that like are just out of this world, and the waves were getting bigger, and you get a little bit of rain, and it was just like really, really cool to be there, and to experience it, especially because now when I look at like Game of Thrones or when they're there, I was just like, yeah, I was there. I saw this place before it was famous, and I get to be one of those cheesy guys who says it. What was cool about San Juan de Gaztelugatxe was that once I was leaving, I was a little bit nervous that I wasn't going to be able to make it back to the bus stop in time. So I'm kind of like jogging, and I'm like scared, and I have like my backpack, and I used to still travel with like a day bag that was like a lot heavier than what I currently do. And I ended up kind of like trying to hitchhike, and people just look at you in Spain. It's not like a big hitchhiking country, or at least maybe not in that area. I do know some people who've hitchhiked to Spain, and I did enjoyed it because people would just give me this weird look like, who the fuck are you? I'm not gonna pick you up. Like, I don't even know like why you're here. Like, what are these like? They're like country roads. They're tiny. It wasn't like I was on a service road or a highway or there was anything nearby. There was nothing nearby aside from that church, which at the time wasn't even a tourist attraction. Nonetheless, I ended up finding somebody who dropped me off, and it was cool. I got some really cool pictures of the area where they actually drop you off, which is like more of a tourist town. I think there's like a racetrack nearby, so there were a lot of like race cars and things like that. So it was very interesting to see that the tourist attraction I went to see, and what surely is a bigger tourist attraction now, was at the time kind of like the B-roll of these like Porsches and things that were actually going to that area to race around. Um, what was interesting is that I went to that place. I eventually got back to the hostel. I went to that day trip, and it was like the first day trip that I didn't bring that's like portable battery. Any of you guys like who are backpacking definitely carry these portable batteries with you, and some of you who don't backpack still carry these portable batteries with you. And that day, I just kind of left it in the hostel, and I just said, fuck it, like I don't need it. I'm taking pictures with my camera anyways. I don't really need the phone pictures. My phone was charged anyways, and there was nobody in my hostel, so I wasn't like worried about anything. And like the ultimate bite in the ass is when you've been traveling for 2 months and you haven't been in a hostel since like the first day, which was back when I was in Lisbon, like months before, and you just leave something on your bed and you come back and it's not there, and you're like, what the fuck, man? So it was the first time in my entire life, I was 27 years old, that I actually got something stolen from me at a hostel, which is just such a weird experience, especially because there was only one other person in my room, and that guy came in, like drunk, stumbling in at like 3 in the morning. So he had already like flipped the light on and woke me up, and I was just like grunting at him because I was getting up early because I wanted to go see this like freaking, at the time it seemed like like wonder of the world for me. Um, I was already like kind of not on good terms with the guy. Not that we had spoken, but I was just like, man, who turns the light on in a room at 3 in the morning? So he woke me up, and then when I came back, obviously my fucking charger was gone, as I just said, and it sucked because there's only one guy in the hostel. So I went to the front desk and I was telling them about it, and she said like, wow, that's so weird. Like obviously we would know that it's him because he's the only guy in the room. And she told me, like, yeah, he has a French passport because obviously when you check in, you give your passport information, et cetera, et cetera. So we knew who the guy was, but he had already checked out. He left. He had my charger. Luckily, I was kind of, saying some nice words to the lady at the desk, and I was like, look, not only did he take my portable battery itself, but he took the charger for it, which just so happens to be the charger at the time for my phone. So like I lost my phone charger and I lost my portable battery. And this son of a bitch also took my converter, for European plug because I was in Europe, and I have a Canadian phone, Canadian charger, Canadian, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So he took it, and he doesn't need it. He was from France. Obviously, his charger, he doesn't need that like adapter. So this son of a bitch took all of my stuff, and I was just like so angry and so done with hostels at that point. Um, it was like the first time that anything was stolen, and just all of these things combined. Luckily, the lady at the desk was being very kind, and I was kind of flirting with her. She hadn't really spoken to anybody for days because nobody travels in northern Spain in March, like I said. And she ended up giving me like another portable charger. She found me a portable battery and a charger, all of these things that were kind of just in the lost and found, things that people forget in the hostel rooms, I guess. So all in all, it kind of worked out, I guess. And I'm really happy that I have this story to tell. But just because up until that moment, I'd always said, like, ah, man, nobody steals anything from hostels. I'd always leave my backpack without lock, and I'd just like leave kind of everything lying around, maybe not in the open. I wouldn't leave like a laptop on my bed or something. But it was just funny because that was like the ultimate slap in the face where I just said, like, nobody takes anything from hostels. We're all in the same situation where it's like, if I take something, I need to throw something out because my backpack's full. And I don't want any of these guys' things because I have my own things and whatever it is. I was just like so proven wrong in that moment. Nobody was there for me to tell the story to, at least, so I didn't feel too stupid about it. Nonetheless, that was, today is a little bit of a filler episode. I know it's not like super entertaining, just my story of going to San Juan de GAZTELUGATXE. Really, really cool place. I suggest that you go see it. And the rest of my trip was really good, and I ended up going with a lot more couch surfing, a lot less hostels. I didn't get anything stolen, etc. Thank you for staying tuned. I know that I've been talking about European countries for a while. I did the Balkans. Now I just finished a week of Spain. So next week, I'm going to start with stories in a different part of the world, India. And I have some really cool stories in India. So stay tuned. Hit that subscribe button. Share this with your friends, your boyfriends, your girlfriends, your grandparents. I don't care who it is. Just, thank you for your support, your love, and stay safe out there. If you're still in quarantine, toast out.